Rapping queen.
Get on my dress if you
doing
coming.
a damn thing.
Wanting it more ain't nothing fucking with me. But your body, I'm fucking with it. One hand on that kitty. Love how she purr when I'm in it. That's why you fuck me so good. They call me Dennis. My sex is on minutes. Sucking and pleasing the titties. Sticking and punching your gut.
Welcome back to the second half of our show. Class is in session. Yes, class is back in session. You're still here joining us. Thank you so much for staying tuned. And for our second half, if you're just tuning in, welcome. Class is in session with Purple Dank. Yeah, so we talked about a lot of things on the first half of the show. Went over some strains of the week, and
I blame myself. I am the rabbit hole queen.
you know, but it was all good. Great conversation. Great
It was
conversation.
relevant.
It definitely was to what we're doing. So
But we're gonna cover current events.
we're gonna carry curve it. Yeah, that's what we're doing, kind of. And so now we're gonna talk about somebody who's known as the father of cannabis. This is Dr. Raphael Mechoulam, the iconic father of cannabis. He recently died at the age of 92. Yes, the father of cannabis. Back in March, he recently did pass away.
We were just finding out about it because we did too much.
I did hear about it then, but then I forgot. Okay, so he's originally he's Bulgarian though.
Israel has one of the most forward
Yes, and when it comes to cannabis.
Yes, medical research and growing
and recreational and everything, they're on it, and they've been on it way before. Yeah, he used to say it's ridiculous how the United States hasn't been, as on it as Israel, and there has been with the clinical trials and all that stuff that was going on. So
made a basic discovery that this guy was the forefather of it all.
Yes,
so was the one who discovered the THC and CBD cannabinoids.
Yes, he was the one that was able to isolate, the first person to isolate those cannabinoids, which then made it possible so we can get, our high and stuff, the THC, and also all the research that he was able to do. He was able to he discovered the cannabinoid system.
Right.
The endocannabinoid system, which we did go over in one of our classes, available on YouTube. Just check it out about the endocannabinoids in our system. He discovered it and found a way to incorporate, the THC to help. Go ahead.
He's the one that led the science and the research, was at the forefront of discovering all the medical, scientific benefits and research of cannabis. He was born in Bulgaria.
But the first time he actually became anything, or he got caught up in Israel, and he said he got caught with what he called a superb smuggled Lebanese hashish. That's what he called it, but it was illegal at that time, in Tel Aviv, and so he was arrested. That's and it wasn't for him to use it; it was for him to do research. That's what he was trying to do, and he got into it because he was like, cannabis is a field that's not as explored as the other fields. So he definitely wanted to do some research and really find out how it could be useful to us.
His findings cannot be understated for their undeniable significance. So he well earned his title as the
father of cannabis. Yes, he definitely did.
He was just a fierce advocate for cannabis legalization, not just in Israel, but for the United States as well. Because of course, Israel and the United States, we work together in a lot of science and research and everything else. So never really understood what was our holdup as far as
America.
Yes,
America. So but him and his team, they discovered more about the healing powers in the marijuana plant, and particularly when it came to the areas of cancer and epilepsy. Yes. And he definitely was frustrated with the rate that America was
he called it ridiculous.
He called them out many times for their harsh laws. He's definitely an advocate for legalizing cannabis. His whole adult life, he's been in the cannabis field researching and just breaking ground on, a whole
Cannabis
bunch of different
research.
things when
You
it
can
comes to
learn a
cannabis
lot
research.
from him. You can learn a lot from him.
Dr. Raphael Mitchullam. He passed away
92.
92. Yeah,
That's a pretty significant amount of time on the earth in this realm.
Yeah, and he accomplished a lot.
He definitely did.
He accomplished a lot
when it comes to the cannabis industry.
Yes,
so.
he was able to move the discourse, and the viewpoint as far as just, everybody saw cannabis, especially in the 60s and 70s, as, recreational, not really understanding or appreciating
the medicinal benefits
of cannabis. So he definitely was a pioneer and
he paved the way. He paved the way.
Because wasn't Afghan Kush was like one of the first strains.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense because he's
in that area. He's
exactly.
from over there in the Middle East. So
that's where the best bud is.
That is on our bucket list.
Yes, we definitely have to take a pilgrimage
to Israel. Yeah,
to Israel and check out all the weed.
Wherever the damn fire is at. Where is it at? Where's the pillow weed?
We'll be there.
Maybe someone can bring it. I'm not trying to go back over there.
You're not trying to. Okay,
well,
she said you've been over there.
For me,
I'd rather somebody bring me some because I'm not going to get somebody else to do it.
We got
I
you.
already went.
We got you. We still gotta go.
Okay.
Shout out to y'all though. Be safe.
I'm only going to like the legal places because I ain't got time for jail.
Yeah, and especially in those foreign countries.
Right.
And we did do a show on traveling and making sure you know where you're traveling, what the laws are when it comes to cannabis.
Right.
Because you don't want to get caught up.
Hey, we're about to go to Puerto Rico. That's what you want to go next time.
They're not recreational, they are medicinal, but we're gonna be able to find
Minnesota recently
legalized.
Yes, so shout out to
recreational.
Minnesota. Yeah,
that is
one by one.
Yeah,
one by one.
Yeah,
slowly but surely.
So speaking of that, that's actually leading straight into our current topic of discussion for the rest of the show, because New York is one of the biggest, most successful, most highest GDP earning, state in the union, and they rolled out their legalization of cannabis last year.
Yeah,
they're having some fucking problems.
They are. People are not. What is it like?
It's serious. It's what you say. It's struggling. It's like flittering. So we're gonna talk more about it and try to get down to it, because the farmers and the dispensary owners, the ones who actually would like to, because New York started a program for felons, who committed
to help them get into the cannabis
they were actually
industry.
the top of the line, the front of the line to be granted the first licenses, which is amazing to even do that.
Yeah.
New York, big up, shout out.
Yes,
but the program itself is running into some problems. It's not cool, man. Y'all better get on it because it's money involved. And
so what's happening? Like you said, farmers are growing, and this is one farmer has all this stuff, and you can't get rid of it.
Okay, so what's happening right now is like a bottleneck, because the program, the loan program that they were offering that would help the dispensaries open, and of course then it would help the farmers sell to the dispensaries. All of this shit is being backlogged. They're not dispensing the licenses fast enough, so it's creating like a jam where people are literally sitting. The state of New York right now is literally sitting on over 300,000 pounds of cannabis and almost 100,000 pounds of distillate,
because they're not dishing out the licenses quick enough.
Right, and the money for the individual licensees.
But the thing is,
to complete the whole process of actually securing.
I'm from New York, and I always represent New York and everything. But come on, New York, you got to do better than that. You have to do better than that. They had time to prepare for the legalization and everything like that.
The little people, because of these programs are geared towards the actual individual farmers or family growers and individual felons who are trying to actually get into the cannabis business
and the program.
And the funding is there, but the red tape, the bureaucracy,
that should have already been ironed out.
Hijacking. So, okay, for instance,
they should have ironed that out.
they were talking about officials are saying that they're trying to atone. The New York State is trying to atone for the war on drugs and of course black people.
Yes, being caught up all up in it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the cornerstone of their whole plan, and they promised to give people who were previously incarcerated with marijuana offenses. They were, like I said,
top of the list, the front of the line,
so that they'd be able to have the opportunity to sell it legally. But today, as of today, that effort appears to be, struggling because although the governor made a plan to have like 100 dispensaries that would be operating by this summer, as of now, there's only 12.
Oh, wow. That's not enough for the state of New York.
Right. So,
especially as far as the demand,
right.
Definitely is high.
The slowness of regulators, the cannabis licensee dispensaries in the state of New York, they just started issuing like the first licenses like this past November. So,
what was the holdup? They just trying to make sure they get their money every way they can, basically, tax wise and regulation wise.
Still trying to figure it out, but right now, like dispensary operators and growers are literally complaining and sending letters of petition to the state and the government for more assistance because they say that they're feeling the pressure because of course they're given money to go secure. For instance, if you want to open a dispensary and you're in front of the line, you're supposed to have a certain amount of money that they've been granted to you to go and secure that dispensary, the building, the furniture, the whole overhead, all that stuff. But the money has been slow in coming to these people. And at the same time, landlords or property or building owners have been jacking up the prices like 100-fold. Yeah. So that's leading
They should be regulating them as well.
Yeah, exactly. So there's not much regulation going on in that area. So people are being taken advantage of. Something that's supposed to cost $100,000, they talk about $300,000. It costs like really jacking up the prices and making it difficult.
They're really tripping because if only 12 dispensaries are open and it was supposed to be 100 by the summer. There's a problem there, and I'm sure people are like, it's, they probably have to travel far to get weed and stuff, that's not how it's supposed to be.
And not only that, how it works in the United States, every state that has legalized it, they have to have their own growers to supply those dispensaries and other cannabis businesses that's then going to sell, where they're, manufacture, process, and sell the cannabis. So it's not like you can cross state lines. Get it. And right now, that's not even the problem in New York. New York, they got all the weed. They just can't get all
distributed. They need to be able to get it distributed.
At the same time, the places of business to buy their crops, to buy their products, is not in operation. So they're literally, shit is going to waste. People are getting real jittery, who's on the cusp of bankruptcy or, a lot of people, these are their life savings,
Well, then they need to offer some relief to those people. Yeah, because they were dependent on them.
The relief is there. The problem is the bureaucracy and
all the red tape.
Dragging of the feet to get these people the money that they need to move on with the process. And then to have the regulations in place that these people who are trying to get these dispensaries and secure these, property leases and stuff like that are not being given a new asshole because that's what's happening. New York, we're a bunch of hustlers and, always
just
trying to
ready,
get on up. So, that part. Wow. So the initiative was originally meant to help people, to gain that foothold in the legal cannabis industry and making them the only ones eligible to sell weed, coming out the gate.
It's just really trying to dominate in some way rather than just...
I don't believe any other state has been that proactive with actually trying to help by putting felons at the top of the line, but by actually saying
didn't they have a program like that in Arizona?
Arizona's
as
doing
well?
It where they're partnering. A lot of cannabis dispensaries are actually partnering with local, people past offenses and all that stuff, and actually helping them to get into the cannabis business and start their own dispensaries. I guess maybe being a chain. Get into that. Hey, McDonald's doing
it. The McDonald's of Mary Jane.
Right. Yeah, so.
Wow.
So the governor had assigned the leasing and financing distribution tasks to the Dormitory Authority, which is a public construction behemoth the agency has not found enough landlords willing to rent to dispensaries and has raised no money from the investors for the loan fund. So all of that is causing problems, and it's becoming more and more urgent since the Cannabis Control Board just now approved licenses to the big boys, and they were supposed to hold off, like allow the small businesses to get their foot in first for the first 2 years. But because those major cannabis corporations wanted a piece of the pie and started to complain and possibly threaten, litigation, now they're allowed to be a part of the business, and what's going to happen. They're going to gobble it all up, and local growers, the little people are again, being pushed out and pushed, to the sidelines. So.
Well, hopefully they'll get it together.
As of last month, they voted last month that Cannabis Control Board to allow major, like MedMen, Curaleaf, the big boys, to allow them to get into the state's medical marijuana program. So instead of giving the 2-year head start to the smaller guys, now it's like, it's not a level playing field. It's just a bigger playing field.
Yeah.
So that's, of course, going to put the smaller dispensaries and smaller businesses run by people with, marijuana convictions and all of that. Currently, right now, they're the only ones that's actually being given an awarded licenses. But that's about to change, like any day now. So they're going to place them into direct competition with the larger companies, and of course that's not a competition.
Yeah, it's not.
How do you stand out against people that have all the money?
They're going to have
resources?
to,
so
definitely.
Hopefully there's going to be some type of regulation and equity
to provide relief for these people that are sitting here waiting on the promise of being able to sell the weed and stuff, and to provide, but that's crazy. But I just sent you another article on your phone. It's interesting because I wanted to go over this and just talk about it because it's a whole thing anyway. So this guy in DC, he smokes his weed in his apartment, and this
DC
lady, it's legal, by the way. It's recreational. It's legal for you to smoke in your home and everything. And so she complained, and a judge actually made him stop. He has to stop smoking weed in his apartment because she complained that it's a nuisance to her. And so now this is the first case of its kind. So now this is kind of setting a precedent as far as what they can, limit us from doing in a free space of our own home. And this dude has a medical card. He smokes his medical marijuana for whatever. And then she complained, talking about he be smoking all day. He said he only smokes about 8 puffs every night, saying to help him go to sleep and deal with pain or whatever. And it's already started, and now this law is, like I said, setting the precedent. That's what it was, a Karen.
Leave people alone.
So he can't smoke within 25 feet.
His own
He can't smoke within 25 feet of that lady's apartment. He stays on the bottom and she stays on the top. So you making me go smoke out somewhere else and do anything when I could be smoking in the comfort of my own home where I'm paying rent, and I have the right to be there. So they're going to have to iron that shit out.
I'll be like, you don't have to move me.
Okay.
What state was that?
She said
That was
DC?
in DC. That was in DC. The judge ruled that, he can't smoke near that lady. And stuff.
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate.
That's another problem with the justice system and everyone being so old and just dated that it's like he's looking at it this way, but really,
it's like more progressive now. Okay, people are smoking weed. It's legal. Like y'all need to chill on trying to restrict or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Because if it's gonna be legal in our district and we're able to smoke, then let it be legal. Let me be able to smoke in my house. I'm sorry, lady, that you're smoking weed. Close your vents or something. Or, what I'm saying? Keep your window closed, bitch.
I mean, we're not trying to be inconsiderate. You're always considerate of your neighbors, but you can tell when something is harassing me. This she just doesn't like cannabis or the smoke or the. He said he had to say
he made a comment that, hey, I'm not Snoop Dogg. I'm not over here smoking all damn day. Right. I just smoke at nighttime.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And she's of course,
that's messed
doing
up.
the Karen and
time to buy your house,
exacerbating.
I'm sorry.
right, on your own land, but not everybody has it like that, you know. So it's like they're gonna have to get that straight. I don't like that shit. I don't like that the judge was able to rule on that like that.
Ooh,
And
technical.
yeah,
Sorry about that, y'all. It's all
but
good.
we getting it together. We holding it together,
And
and
guess what? Class is about to be over
it is
anyway.
about to be over. But it was fun. Yeah, talking about that, that's just something to think about. That case in DC, you know,
Yeah, that's kind of, unsettling.
it's contradictory. I mean, come on, you just made it legal,
Especially when a
recreational.
lot of states have it where you
You can't
even
smoke in
you can't
public.
smoke in public.
So
You
where the
can't
hell
smoke
am I
in
supposed
public.
to smoke then? Where he's supposed to
And
smoke?
it's legal, but I can't smoke it in my own home, and I can't smoke it outside.
So what are you doing? You're like restricted, like I can't smoke. It's basically what you're saying, you know, like
Y'all ain't gonna Roe v. Wade me.
Might have to open up some actual just smoke centers.
Yes, and that's what
A safe smoke space.
is working on getting our smoke lounge together in a legal state.
A cannabis consumption lounge.
Yes, you know, but the hood is a smoke lounge. We gonna go and smoke and chill, and you know, these smoke lounges is really a novel idea, especially because the states don't want you smoking out in public.
Right.
And people don't want to smoke in their homes. They don't. You can't smoke in your car, you know, while you're driving and stuff.
It could be kind of like Sonic is set up, where you pull up and you just smoke in the little parking lot, and someone comes out.
It's gonna have to be indoors. Yeah, it's gonna have to be indoors.
I mean, there's a way around that.
So we're
I mean, I'm saying indoors.
We were dabbing outside.
Yes,
Remember that stuff?
Yeah, like if it's a patio type.
Area,
Exactly, that's what I'm
you
saying.
know, probably away from like the public or where they're, you know.
We're gonna do our research.
We are. We're going to come back with more information on that.
really
But the smoke lounge is a novel idea. Like you can pay a daily rate to go in, or you can sign up for membership. Yes, and just come in there and smoke
You
and
can
chill.
come roll up in the parking lot somewhere safe.
Our smoke spot is going to be the shit because. Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna
here
be
for it.
live.
I'm down.
Stay tuned, y'all. We definitely be letting you know.
I'm here for it.
In a legal state, yeah, Cali or Vegas.
It's time for me to be going back and forth anyway.
Right? Make the trip. Take the trip. No, Arizona is out of it. Yeah, we already. Yeah.
Well, those be the places that you would want to, because they're the people that
But
need somewhere to go.
The thing is, though, Vegas, for instance, is such a tourist spot, and people are coming there because it's recreational and stuff, and to have an area where they can actually come and smoke because they don't know nobody, they can't go to nobody's house.
Yeah.
Come over here and smoke. You know what I'm saying? You can't even smoke on this. Yeah. So we gotta find ways. Find a way, damn it! I'm trying to get high. Trying to get high. Yeah. So stay tuned. Yep. Well. Is that our show? Is that our show? Oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We learned a lot. So if you want to review everything, you can definitely go on YouTube. It's on Facebook Live as well. Class in Session with Purple Dank. Reach out to us. Like I said, our Instagram, Purple Dank Official. Our website, purpledankinfusions.com. Check us out. Until next time, every other Tuesday. Stay tuned. Yes. Purple Dank.